You've been off the stage now for a while. We had an election in the interim. I know that a lot of people are, interested in your thoughts on what's unfolded since. But 2 days after the election, I read two different articles, one of which was headlined of something to the effect of, if Jon Stewart had still been hosting The Daily Show, Hillary Clinton would have been elected president. And then another was Jon Stewart and how Jon Stewart and The Daily Show and its legacy elected Donald Trump.
I would have probably allowed Hillary to come a little closer in the Rust Belt, but I still think I would have given Michigan to Trump. I had a little something going on where I was going to give Gore Florida. I think one of the lessons, hopefully, of this book and of what we're talking about is to put satire and culture in its proper place. That controlling the culture is not the same as power. And that while we were all passing around really remarkably eviscerating videos, the Tea Party that we had all made great fun of was sitting off a highway at a Friendly's taking over a local school board. And the lesson there is, as much of I loved what we did and I liked it, but there is a self-satisfaction there that is unwarranted, unearned, and not useful. News organizations that lost their credibility and authority because they were not careful enough about introducing toxic and poisoned information and laundering it into a system devalued the authority of real supposed news sources to the point where people are frustrated enough to elect a man who stands for what he stands for. And that's it. Yeah, let's fucking do this!
And John's right, of course, that there's a great deal of difference between culture and power. But one of the threads in the book is the rise of Fox News, which debuted in 1996, within months of The Daily Show. And there's a whole lot of difference between 22 minutes, 4 nights a week, and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And one of the things I've found fascinating in the post-election coverage is people don't seem to be making the point that Trump does not come out of a vacuum. That, as Jon talks about in the book, you listen to talk radio or you watch Fox, and it's relentless. It's been going on for 20 or so years, and if you pump sewage into the water supply every day for that long, you're going to develop some mutant fish. And this is part of where Trump comes from. Jon was showing some clips of Rush Limbaugh, who was mocking disabled people, was doing a bad racist Chinese accent, and I'm like, where have I seen that lately?
To get back to the earlier history of The Daily Show, what made a good field piece? What was your definition of, a good segment?
One of the things that you obviously don't see on camera there is all the preparation that went into that bit. For instance, when the Central Park aquarium director says something about finding these penguins in nature, they knew he was going to say that because they had pre-interviewed him. And Samantha Bee had a response ready. So there were hours of meetings and pre-interviews that went into those things that left room for improvisation and spontaneity. A couple of things that I found interesting in reporting the book. Sam Bee, of the Correspondents who did field pieces, was the only one who would interact with the subjects off camera. Because
she's human.
She's human.
And kind.
Right.
Colbert
would leave. He'd go outside. He would stay in character. He didn't want to interact with these people on any kind of human level before shooting the bit. He's a deeply ethical man, but for the sake of the funny, he had to maintain that separation. And the other thing too, The Daily Show over time would get criticized in the field pieces, about the field pieces, for taking things out of context or making people look silly. And there's a really interesting, I thought, quote in the book from a field producer named Tim Greenberg, who made the point that we don't take people out of context. You look at the raw footage, and that's true. And if we were just cornering people, pigeonholing people, it would be a lot easier to just hire actors and have them say these lines than to go to the real people. The whole point of a lot of these field pieces was to allow people to express what they thought was their brilliant point of view. So Dr. Paul Cameron, the conservative, was the one person who Sam told me she absolutely hated, that they had to go out to lunch between shooting segments, and he was just unspooling all these homophobic theories. Plus, they were eating at Tad's Steaks, which is always really hard to stomach.
Not the salad bar.